Sometimes there's a moral perspective that seems like it's really good and it
Mm-hmm.
seems perfect, but usually the ramifications of that perfect moral situation
Mm-hmm.
are worse than the individual problem that it's causing.
Yeah.
Like, for example, right? Morally, it would seem like it's a great thing for everyone to feel comfortable in society.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone to feel not offended. Everyone to feel comfortable, on online anywhere. But there's no way that you can do that without limiting some fundamental freedom. There's no way.
Yeah.
At least that's how I think.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think that sometimes we get really obsessed with the idea that something sounds good, something sounds moral, that we don't really think about how that could really affect us in society or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only way to make sure that you're never offended on social media
You're not going on it.
is by not going on it, but like by while still going on it, the only way for that to happen is if you can shut down people who don't agree with you.
Yeah, and that's just impossible.
Yeah, it should be impossible, but I feel like
Yeah.
we're going to the point where it is kind of possible.
So you wanna lead to like mob mentality of that part?
Yeah, yeah, we can go into that. We can go into that. Um, so I think that the reason why it's becoming such a thing is mob mentality and obsession with the a moral absolute, which is in this case, everyone should be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds amazing, right? So we are so obsessed with the moral absolute that if someone goes against it, someone's like, maybe we shouldn't do this. I feel like everyone should speak or whatever. Then you become the outsider in a way, and it's a mob mentality because a lot of people want to focus on what sounds good, and then they're all together like this, they're just angry because they feel like you are not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I said that right.
I feel like but I think you're trying to say is the mob mentality is that how fast it could build up
Yeah.
and how strong people can have feelings for a certain thing,
Yeah.
so that when you're not a part of it, since they feel so strong for that, they don't like you because you
Yeah,
might see
that's true.
differently.
That's true. Yeah. Because mob mentality, obviously, it's a big part of cancel culture. That is cancel culture, really. But what by since groups have so much power and social media gives people so much power in general, so much influence. When those groups grow, they can just basically choke out any other viewpoints.
Mm-hmm.
And by using these, things that sound really good morally, they sound really good for people. It's an easy way to make everybody that disagrees with you a bad person. Because if you're going for something that sounds so good, everyone's going to be comfortable. Anybody that says something, maybe I disagree. Oh, so you don't want people to be comfortable? You don't want people to be sad? You want people to be sad? You want people to be angry all the time? You want people to feel unsafe?
That's
You know what I'm saying?
Another part of like mob mentality
Yeah.
is that like it's a mob, so like it's more than one person.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you're the person with the different idea, then there's just everyone attacking you for like just thinking differently.
Yeah. You don't like, and the way that mobility is usually towards shutting it down, it shows that like we're kind of not becoming, but acting more as a collective or a conformist society where we are all this one hive mind that we should all think the same. And if you don't think the same, just leave. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's the problem with having something based on moral absolutes or something that's good. So something that sounds good. So therefore, we need to go for that because it's so easy to make everybody else on the other side look vilified and make them look terrible, and it makes us all be like, well, sounds like a good thing on paper. Therefore, that is the 100% right thing that everyone should think, and anybody other than that is not. They don't have a different view. They have the wrong view, and they need to be changed to our view or deleted from existence.
Yeah, so like you said, just having more like mob mentality wouldn't be so bad if it was more of an open minded kind of thing.
Well, I think open mindedness contradicts
The mob mentality.
mob mentality. It's like the same thing, collectivism versus individualism.
Yeah.
I think that's what it really is. Collectivism or individualism promotes more individual thought, free thought, and making your own opinions than collectivism or as a mob mentality. Collectivism encourages people to put their trust into someone else to decide what's right and wrong.
Mm.
It makes you trust that this person who started this trend probably had good intentions. So I'm gonna just roll with it. You know what I'm saying?
And they had their facts right.
Yeah, and had their facts right. Yeah. Whereas
I was assuming.
Yeah. Whereas other schools of thought would make you stop and kind of think of it for a little bit. Or not people, but just the general consensus kind of on the internet. More obviously to more like the left, but just the internet in general. The consensus has been that Trump is bad, and then that turned into liking Trump is immoral.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So therefore, if you like Trump, I have the right because you are immoral. Objectively, I decided objectively that you are immoral, so I don't have to talk to you. That's my problem with it. Even if you think that he is wrong and people who like him are bad, I think that you still need to be able to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And the problem with absolute morality is that when you decide that someone is immoral, it you don't have to talk to them anymore. You don't have to respect them anymore.
Yeah, because you're never gonna go anywhere as a person.
Yeah.
Never having that debate of like a serious topic like our president.
Yeah.
And it even leads to small things. Mm-hmm. Like if you're always like deciding on one thing when someone would debate you about just like a little argument about something, you always gotta have like the open mind to know like you have to be open to being changed.
Yeah, it's not even about being open to be changed, right? You don't have to enter a conversation wanting to be changed, but I think that when we decide that someone or something is bad, is immoral, it gives us an escape so that we don't have to prove our point anymore.
Yeah.
Because if this thing is immoral, then I know I don't have to explain it. I don't have to say why I don't like something because we as a group have decided that this is bad, 100%. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to even try anymore. That's why I don't like people. I don't like it when people say any vote that's not for Joe Biden is a vote for Trump. You see people say that, and they kind of shame people, or they don't like people for not literally speaking. Like they're saying, if you vote for a third party, if you vote for a write-in.
I mean, it's kind of true though, isn't it?
It's true, but I think that it doesn't really address. Well, it's not okay. Here's the thing, right? It's not true. Obviously, it's not literally a vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
But they're saying that Trump is so bad that you need to vote for Joe Biden because if you don't, he's gonna stay.
Yeah, and then like the third party person you vote for, they're never gonna get big enough.
And while that might be true, I feel like the fact that that's just a general consensus shows that like we've kind of become numb to the idea of any sort of change. Mm-hmm. You go back mob mentality, right?
Yeah.
If everyone's shouting at you, every Instagram story you slide, every person talking to you is like, you need to vote for Joe Biden because he's gonna beat Trump, and that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
Right? Which, if you really feel strongly about Trump, that viewpoint makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's reflective of any future of change if that's what you're doing.
Yeah, but it's like, are we voting this guy in because he's a good president, or are we voting him in just because we want to get rid of Trump?
Yeah, well, no, that is why.
Yeah,
that is the reason why it's like that.
How long has it been since we just said like, oh, this is the best guy for the job and this is the president? It's just always who's the least worst.
That's true, and obviously, see, that's the thing. That's a good thing. I'm glad you brought that up because it keeps happening, right?
Yeah,
it's gonna keep happening, and eventually, and the people know that, politicians know that for a lot of voters, I don't have to work for my job.
What?
Like I don't have to really work. I don't have to really satisfy these people because they're gonna vote for me no matter what, right? So I think that by continually pushing this thing where, if you don't vote for Joe Biden, you're a bad person because you're letting Trump stay in office.
Yeah.
It pushes that cycle forward of the least of two evils every time.
Yeah.
Because if people were, even if like it sounds bad if you're really against Trump, it's obviously gonna sound bad. Even if what if all these people, right, however many people, direct their votes to third party, Green Party, whatever party that they wanted, they might, maybe that would cause Joe Biden to lose, right? But maybe the people in the DNC are gonna be like, well, we might need to work a little better at this. You understand what I'm saying?
And
I think that by continually saying, don't pick this person, don't pick this person, lesser of two evils, every time, every election, it ends up to this point where, again, there's this mob, group, absolute moral.
Yeah.
That you're a bad person if you don't do this. And it sticks with you. And next time that it comes around, you do the same thing over and over again. And it just stops the change. I mean, it changes the change. Yeah. So, obviously, 9/11, that happened, right? And for a long time, you know, there was this image, obviously, of terrorism that still exists now, right? Specific people look in a specific way. So let's flip it now. We're gonna talk about that as opposed to like the Trump supporter thing, right? If you because this image has been so associated with fear, and that's what we've been seeing a lot, right? Now we see that and like have a specific reaction to that, whether it be consciously or subconsciously.
I feel like towards like people who, what would you say? What is like the group of people that people assume as terrorists? Like
Muslims.
Like Muslims.
Or any.
And I feel like definitely now as Americans, they've definitely made it that almost everyone subconsciously thinks of them differently. Like.
Oh yeah, that's I think the problem is.
And that's like definitely a terrible ass thing.
Yeah.
Because that's like another form of racism, really. And like America pushed for it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
And it's pretty recent. You know, it's like almost 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's still like a recent thing that America really pushed for it in the 2000s.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with. I think the problem with fear and mob mentality is that fear is just dangerous anyway, right?
Yeah.
And mobs, big groups of people, amplify the power and the influence of fear. And when you're scared of something, you don't make logical decisions. You don't act logically. There can be someone that just doesn't have a racist bone in their body, but they're scared. And they see someone that looks a certain way, even that has, whatever head wrap, whatever they want to say, and they get scared. They might even be racist.
Yeah.
They just get scared, and that leads them to act certain ways.
Yeah.
And that fear, when we have a society that kind of supports mob mentality, that's the problem. Well, when we have a society that has such a mob mentality already, it's bad because when fear is introduced, it can be used to manipulate us however anybody wants to manipulate us.
Yeah.
Once fear is involved, it's just over.
Yeah, it's social media and Netflix and like all those things definitely boosted to a different level.
Any
like people,
Hollywood is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Hollywood is a whole nother thing and a whole nother topic. But like just
it gets boosted out of proportion, because even though like if someone sees someone with face tats and you walk by your car and you lock your car door or something like that, it just because they have face tats doesn't mean they're the most dangerous person on the planet.
I mean, for sure. But I think that relates to, but I think it's different because the fear of that is less personal than the fear of like Muslim people after 9/11.
Yeah.
Because even if you didn't live in New York, for a lot of people I know it felt pretty personal.
Yeah.
It felt like a attack.
Attack on America.
Yeah, it felt like attack on you.
Country.
Right? So the fear of that is more personal. I'm not talking about societal fears, like fear of big black guys or something like that. Because obviously that's rooted in racism or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm talking about things that are like that fear was pushed on us within our lifetime. You know what I'm saying? It's not a result of the past as much as racism.
It's not like there's no like big thing that big black guys did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's a result of history, racism, all that stuff. But this was introduced to us basically in our lifetime. And I think that's just crazy, and that shows how powerful mob mentality is, especially when fear is involved.
Oh, yeah.
And that fear led to things like the USA Patriot Act. Explain which it just like, it gave them the right to like basically like spying. It's like, you know, the whole thing with like NSA spying on people, Edward Snowden, that's a whole other thing. But the point is, when people are scared, they make decisions that are not amazing. And mob mentality pushes that fear, and like it's like throwing gas on it, and it just goes crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you combine fear and moral absolutism, it's just terrible. Because
that is, yes.
Like, if you're scared of something and you also believe that you're right to be scared of it, and the thing you're scared of is bad, it's just over.
That definitely leads to a lot of racism.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're scared of black people and you're like, I'm right to be scared of black people, they're pretty bad.
Yeah.
Then you can do anything to a black person and you feel right to do that. Whatever you do. Whether it's call the cops, whether it's attack them, whether it's, you know what I'm saying?
Don't you think it's almost scary in itself that someone like that could do something like that, and in their mind it's totally okay?
Oh yeah,
that's really scary to think of.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Like, it's terrible. Someone could do the most heinous act, but in their mind, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's when it gets kind of scary, because
and fear is also the easiest thing to justify. I was scared, so I did this.
Yeah.
Any police brutality, or people just calling the police for no reason. The reason is always, I was scared, I was doing this, I was doing that. It's the easiest thing to explain why you committed anything against someone else, do anything against someone else. So, at the end of the day, use your brain, be an individual,
be independent.
Mob mentality, don't buy into it, make your own decisions. Just real quick, I wanted to give not really a shout out, but I wanted to acknowledge that some of the ideas that I did bring forth in this discussion were pretty influenced by this one channel, which is Foundations of Economic Education, and there's just a series on the channel called Outer Frame, and I watched a lot of those videos, and they do talk a lot about individualism and stuff like that, and it just wanted to put that out there, just because, you know, I don't want to ever seem like I'm like copying someone or something like that. But yeah, a lot of those things did influence or give me the words to explain the views that I had.